After Britain experienced its hottest day in history yesterday, climate campaigners Just Stop Oil have told people this morning to, quote, not to use the M25 motorway from today until Friday, as they intend to block the highway.
They haven't said exactly where on the M25 they're planning to do it, just that very broad warning on their website in the last half an hour. We've seen before, of course, the extreme lengths that campaigners have gone to, gluing themselves to paintings and pavements and vandalising buildings.
In an exclusive poll for Good Morning Britain, 71% of people surveyed said the recent heatwave has made them more concerned about climate change.
But 51% felt that the people who took part in protests for climate change should continue to receive criminal convictions. We're going to debate this. Let's just take a look at some of the action that's been taken to solve the crisis. So, have climate protesters been acting in all our best interests, and is now the time to forgive them, pardon them of the crimes that they have been convicted of?
We're joined by Just Stop Oil campaigner James Skeet, who says protesting is the only way to wake people up about the reality of climate change, and broadcaster Kevin O'Sullivan, who says this isn't the way to tackle climate change and we should prosecute harder. First of all, James, your organisation has told people to avoid the M25 until Friday. Presumably that includes firefighters and ambulances and people going about their business. Is that the way to win this argument?
Good morning, Ed. So the Just Stop Oil Coalition is demanding that there be no new licensing and consents for any fossil fuel exploration in the United Kingdom. And the disruption that we're seeing is minuscule in comparison to what's been unfolding over the recent days. And really, we need to be looking at the criminality of the UK government, which is not taking necessary action against the climate crisis. And that has been reinforced with what the UK High Court said on Monday, that the government's actions was inadequate and unlawful, and their own climate change committee gave them a 4 out of 10 in dealing with this crisis. So I wouldn't trust these bobbleheads with a bowel movement, let alone the future of humanity.
So this M25 blockade, which you are planning at some point between now and Friday, which would include fire engines and ambulances and all those kind of things, as well as people going about their business, you think that's going to persuade people to support your campaign?
This is not a popularity contest, Ed. This is about forcing the issue to the forefront of the public consciousness. And you can't say that disruptive action doesn't work. On the back of the Extinction Rebellion protesting in 2019, the government declared a climate emergency. When the IB9 was sent to prison last year, you had the leader of the Lib Dems and Keir Starmer talking about housing insulation, and that entered the mainstream political discourse in a way that it otherwise wouldn't have done. So the proof is in the pudding. Time and time again, civil resistance has been shown to bring about the kind of societal shift that we need to see in the sort of time frame that we have.
Let's bring Kevin O'Sullivan in here. He's got a point, hasn't he? They've been warning about this sort of thing, and the heatwave we've just experienced, the wildfires we've seen, that is now a fact, you know, the hottest day in history. These protesters have been doing the right thing, haven't they, to force the issue, to force broadcasters, to force newspapers to report on what they're doing and therefore raise the issue of climate change?
Well, in that respect, I think they're probably succeeding, given that the BBC News at 6 o'clock last night and at 10 o'clock spent 25 minutes talking about climate change, presuming that the fact that there are a few fires in fields and houses around London means that we are in the middle of a climate change crisis. The question is, do these people deserve to be prosecuted when they break the law in pursuit of their cause? Well, of course they do. If you start saying it's OK to break the law as long as your cause is good and right and conscience, then anything goes. I mean, what laws are they allowed to break? I mean, how many laws are they allowed to break in pursuit of their cause? It's a bit like kind of damaging statues because you're protesting against slavery 300 years ago. Quite why that's acceptable, and yet if I go and smash up a shop or something, it's not acceptable, I don't know. So I absolutely respect to Just Stop Oil, Extinction Rebellion, Insulate Britain. I absolutely respect their right to protest, but when they break the law in the pursuit of their cause, of course they must be prosecuted. And by the way, while we're on this issue, why are they, for example, picketing and damaging where I work, News UK, or perhaps various British governmental offices, various banks in the city? Why aren't they outside the Chinese embassy? We in Britain have 3 coal-fueled power stations. China has 1,150, is busy building 300 more, and is exploring for more coal reserves in order to make more coal-fueled power stations. So why are you bothering with us when we only produce 1% of the world's pollution? Nothing we do in Britain will ever make any difference.
Thanks, Kevin. James, let me just ask you this, James. You had your, I think it was actually Extinction Rebellion yesterday, were targeting News UK campaigning, saying that they have to tell the truth. The journalist from the Sunday Times, Hannah Al-Othman, tweeted yesterday. She said it was literally on the front page on Sunday, on the front page of the Sunday Times. I included material sent to me by our science editor about climate change. She quotes a Met Office scientist saying that the chance of seeing 40 degrees centigrade in the UK could be as much as 10 times more likely in the current climate than under a natural climate unaffected by humans. So you are targeting News UK. The Sunday Times is actually reporting the truth. You accuse them of not telling the truth. Don't you at least have to get your facts right in these campaigns, or are you just allowed to completely make it up as well?
Oh, come on, Ed. The Murdoch empire has been spouting oil company propaganda for decades. They've been lying and manipulating the public consciousness. I asked Kevin, how much is Rupert Murdoch paying you to sell out all of our futures?
On the front of in the Times today, it says extreme weather set to become the new normal. I mean, the Times, the Sunday Times, the BBC, Good Morning Britain.
Too little, too late,
we
I
are
think.
all. So if we now talk about climate change and do something about it, it's too late. So you're just going to break the law and lie just because you think you can get away with it?
So it takes British people having their houses burning down in wildfires before the Murdoch empire actually covers this. Is that what you're saying?
I think
What's
you
it got
just
to do with
want
the Murdoch?
Why
don't you go to the Chinese embassy?
It's just... Look, you're a political campaign.
Why
it's
don't
got
you
nothing
stop
to do with
spouting
climate change. It's
tropes?
basically anti-Murdoch, anti-capitalist, anti-establishment. That's fine. But if you break the law, then you should be prosecuted.
The fact of the matter is the UK is the 8th biggest emitter historically. We led the entire world into this crisis, and people like Kevin don't believe that the UK has any influence. I don't actually believe that. Boris Johnson said that we're leaders on climate change. Well, let's see it.
OK, James.
Act on this crisis. It's what everyone wants him to do.
James and Kevin, thank you very much.
1% of the world's pollution, nothing we do will make any difference.
It's a heated debate about a very heated topic.